What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a good old look at Buggy from OP09. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Buggy is legit, and it's a really good deck, and I've seen a bunch of winning lists popping up over in Japan. Not a big tournaments, there aren't any of them right now, but there's been a bunch of little tournaments since this came out, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah. It's starting to do pretty well. So we need to have a chat about it. I'm going to give you an example list in this video. This is not the only way. I'm not guaranteeing all the counts are perfect or anything like that. But I am telling you that this deck is legit. And it all starts with Leader Buggy. And here's the thing, right? Leader Buggy, great card, great skill, super awkward. We've got a mono blue leader, 5,000 power, 5 life, all fairly standard. And we've got a skill that does nothing for the first couple of turns, but it's got a skill whereby you can rest 5 Don and trash a card from your hand, and then play a cross-skilled character from your hand. But it's just any cross-skilled character. And we're going to see as we go through, we got some expensive characters here, most notably the 10-cost Buggy, that you're essentially playing cheaply here. That is a very, very, very good thing. Now, being a blue deck, we got Kaya. I love how, blue goes out of the format. Blue's not really good right now in the West. In our OP07 format, blue's just not really a thing. It's not doing very well at all. I'll be honest with you. It's not in, the top 6 decks. But no matter what happens, anytime we get blue being good, everybody plays 4 Kaya. It's such a great card. It's just a 4 of in every blue deck, and it's brilliant. And I get why. It's a 1 cost that draws 2, trashes 2, so great for draw power, and it's got counter plus 2k. Kaya is phenomenal. Love that that's coming back. Now, we've got a bunch of new cards in this set. A bunch of the new cards from OP09 make it into this deck. Like, for instance, Mr. Free Galdino. 1 cost 2,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and on play, it's your generic searcher. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, find a cross-skilled other, or Baroque work, other than Mr. Free Galdino, add it to your hand, put the rest to the bottom of your deck in any order. Decks play generic searchers, this one plays generic searchers. Now, after that, we do start going up to 5 cost pretty quickly, but just in between, we've got a couple copies of Marguerite. This is the only Marguerite card we've ever had in the One Piece TCG, to date at least. 3 cost, 2,000 power, and it's a blocker that on play draws a card. Yeah, it's draw power and it's a blocker. Both of those things are good. So that sounds like a nice inclusion to me. Another brand new card from OP09 we've got here is Alvida. 5 cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and we've got a rather nice KO skill here, whereby if your leader is a cross-skilled type, play a character with a cost of 5 or less other than Alvida from your hand. And that's why there's so many 5-cost characters in this deck, because we've got skills like this that really rely on 5-cost characters, and yeah, that kind of makes sense. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here. I'm going to tell you about the Buggy, the 10-cost Buggy. I've already kind of mentioned it once. But this is the one whereby, on play, you get to put any of your opponent's characters to the bottom of their deck. But if you do not have 5-cost or higher characters in play, then Buggy goes to the bottom of your deck. So what you're trying to do here is play it as a 5-cost with your leader, but you need to keep it on the board, and Alvida is a 5-cost, that on KO, hopefully, replaces herself with another 5-cost, and that kind of works out really rather nicely here. Now we got ourselves the Mr. 1 Daz Bones from EB01. 5 cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and on play you draw 2, trash 1. Now if your leader's type includes Baroque Works, against 2,000 power for every 2 events in your trash, but your leader doesn't include Baroque Works, it's just cross-skilled. That's a lie, it's 4 Emperors and cross-skilled, but still it's not Baroque Works. But you're still talking here about a 5-cost character, and we've said we need some of them, and on play, draw 2, trash 1. It's more draw power. Works very nicely. We've also got another Mr. 1 Daz Bones. It is a 5 cost. This is the new one from OP09. And it's just a vanilla card. 5 cost, 7,000 power, counter plus 1,000. That's it. It's a generic vanilla card. But it's a 5 cost, and again, I keep telling you we need 5 cost here. And it's cross-skilled, and because it's a vanilla card, it's got a pretty decent cost to power ratio. And that explains it quite nicely, honestly. Now we got ourselves Moji here, which again, another card from OP09, another cross-skilled card. And on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find a Richie, add it to your hand, put the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then play a Richie from your hand. Yeah, you're not playing Richie in this deck. It's just a 5 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 2k. But here, the deal is, it's a 5 cost, which we keep saying we need, and it's cross-skilled, and it's counter plus 2k. And those 3 things alone are enough. 5 cost, cross-skilled, counter plus 2k. We're not playing any Richie, so we can't play any Richie for free, but we don't want to play Richie because Richie's not a 5 cost. There we go. Speaking of 5 costs, and speaking of new cards from OP09, we've got ourselves Buggy. 5 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 2,000. And we've got, if you have Buggy or Moji as a character, this character cannot be KO'd in battle. Okay, I slow rolled you a tiny bit there. And don't get me wrong, Moji is good as a 5 cost Baroque works with counter plus 2k. But also, it stops Kabaji being KO'd in battle, who also has counter plus 2k, and you're starting to see how this comes around very nicely indeed. Now, someone that is not cross-skilled, unfortunately, is the Jozu that came around in OP08. It's a Whitebeard Pirates. But on play, you may return one of your characters other than Jozu to your hand to return an opponent's character with a cost of 6 or less to the owner's hand. But you're playing stuff here like Kaya and like Mr. Frigaldino that are just for the on-play skills, and then they're sitting there taking up a space that you don't really want them to take up because you need to have a bunch of 5 cost or more characters in play. So Jozu here is a way of just getting one of them off your board, which you don't care about because once they're on the board they're pointless, while also getting rid of one of your opponent's characters. It's a nice deal, frankly. Works out quite nicely. We are then playing the Dracul Mihawk from OP09, and what we got here is a 6 cost 7,000 power Baroque's works. So again, you're more than 5 cost your Baroque works, that's good. But we got a blocker, and on play, draw 2, trash 1. And honestly, there's quite a lot of draw in this deck. There's a bunch of characters that draw on play, and that's going to add up to drawing into what you need, and that's a good thing. This is a very cool card. Now, the build I'm showing you here plays a single copy of Crocodile, although I'll be honest with you, I love this card in this deck, and I kind of would like to play a bit more. But 7 cost, 7,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and on play, you can play a 5 cost or lower cross-skilled or Baroque's work card from your hand, and that's good. Frankly, that's very, very good. And a lot of the ones we've seen here, we've seen things like Daz Bones, who's not cross-skilled, but his Baroque works, and can be played for free here with Crocodile. I'm lying to you, there's 3 copies of this card in the deck. I've just had a closer look at the deck list. The other 2 are hidden. I'll show you in a minute. Point is, Crocodile's great, and there are 3 of them, which makes a lot more sense. And then we've got a full 4 copies of the Buggy. And the Buggy's a pain, don't get me wrong, but it bumps any character to the bottom of its owner's deck, which is Redonk. And it's a 12k body, and you can use your leader skill here to play it as a 5 cost. Playing either this or Crocodile as a 5 cost, Crocodile is 2 characters in 1, this is a 12k body that gets rid of one of your opponent's characters, that's why Buggy's good. That's essentially why Buggy ends up being a good leader, because you can play these ridiculous cards as a 5 cost, and it works very nicely indeed. I'm going to be honest with you, the extra draw does not hurt here. Now, in terms of event cards, we have a few. We got 4 copies of Sanji's Pilaf. This is another card that just seems to pop up as a 4 of in basically every blue deck, because as a main, you draw 2 cards, and as a trigger, you draw 2 cards. It's great. And I'm rereading the One Piece manga. I've read it. I'm completely up to date, waiting for the next issue. But I keep finding stuff that I don't want to read as much as One Piece. I'm just rereading One Piece, and I've just gotten to the whole Bharati part. And this is nice. It's a nice reminder of what I've just been reading. I read this issue last night. But yeah, drawing cards, very, very good. We've then got 2 copies of the 7-cost Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. You place up to 2 characters of a cost of 6 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck in any order, or as a trigger, 1 5-cost or less. This is what blue does. You got a bunch of cards that do it. This does it nicely as well. And combined with Buggy, that's really good. Buggy takes out the big ones, these take out the little ones. And then we've got 1 Gum Gum Red Rock, which as a main places 1 character to the bottom of its owner's deck. It's Buggy in an event card. But as a trigger, you place a character with cost of 4 or less to the bottom of the owner's deck. It's doing that whole keep away thing that blue tends to do. Here's a list as a whole, and you can see the 2 crocodile hidden there just in the bottom middle. And we've got a deck here that draws a bunch of cards, gets a bunch of 5-cost out, and you got stuff like Alvida that replenishes itself, Crocodile that plays an extra, your Moji that can't be KO'd. And then you get Buggy down, and that 10-cost Buggy becomes redonkulous. I like this deck. I am definitely going to be playing around with this deck. This is very much an OP09 deck. Sometimes I'll show you decks and be like, you can basically play this now. You cannot play this now. Obviously, the leader doesn't come out till OP09, but like half of this deck isn't out yet. So you're going to have to wait a little bit. But I think when OP09 comes out, this is very much worth a test. But I've told you all of this now. So now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this deck. Tell me if you think this is a legitimate card, or tell me if you think it's a little bit rubbish. Go nuts in the comment section, but be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.